Hello and welcome to another week here on the Everyday Joy podcast. I'm your host, Joy Ravella. If you haven't already, do make sure you leave a written 5-star review, like, follow, subscribe, and share an episode you love with a friend because you never know if that's what they need to hear for the day. Let's get into today's Bible verse.
Self-control means controlling the tongue. A quick retort can ruin everything. That's found in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 3 in the TLB version.
Once again, I have the amazing Jo Chapman on the show today.
Hello.
Jo, for someone who hasn't yet had a chance to get to know you, they've probably heard you on the podcast a few times, but you do a whole lot of other things.
Yes, I do. I am, first of all, a solo parent of 4 children, 22, 20, 18 and 15. And I'm dating Barry, the boyfriend. So 11 years of singleness, have met somebody. And so we'll see where that goes. And I also work here at 89.9 The Light. I am half of the Cam and Jo Show.
Yes, which is on from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays, Melbourne time. Amazing show. You should go check it out. More details at thelight.com.au. Today we're taking a look at Proverbs 13:3, which is all about controlling the tongue and how a quick retort can ruin everything. What are your first impressions of this one, Jo?
Self-control. Yes, I think it is about controlling the tongue, and a few things come to mind. It may not necessarily mean speaking bad words. It may also mean speaking too much, speaking too little. I think it has a broader range of impact than just what we think of immediately.
Yeah, that's a really good thought, because I was thinking just jumping in and saying something. I think I'm a lot more measured when I'm having conversations with my friends, but when it comes to my family, I think child joy comes out.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yeah, and we're harsher on the people that we know. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it often is the case. It's easier, I think, to control your tongue when you're in the workplace or out publicly, but with your family, you let your walls down, which is good, which is healthy, but it can also mean we have less of, I suppose, a rein on our tongue as well.
Yeah.
Jo, what does this verse tell you about who God is or what matters to him?
I think that God is careful in the way he communicates with us, and not that he needs to be careful, but I think this matters to him that we use our words powerfully, because when you think about it, God created the earth with words. He spoke things into being. So the power of speech is incredibly important. We see that right back in the first beginnings of Genesis. Things are spoken into being. So what you're saying today can be creative, can be impacting more than we sometimes hope or think.
There was a really interesting science fact I picked up, and it's this idea. Now, I'm not a scientist, okay, so please have some grace if I mess this one up. But there's something about this idea of sound waves never stopping. So once you speak and the air particles move, it constantly creates a ripple effect on the scientific molecular level.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, and spiritually as well, when God spoke, things happened. And you see that countless times in the Bible. Every time God speaks, something happens.
Yes.
And he bestows upon us both that great privilege and opportunity, but also if we're not handling it well, it can lead us down some difficult pathways and hurt other people around us. And I know you've got a bit of a story yourself, Jo, of the power of words over you.
Yeah, yes, I do. I mean, sometimes we think about what we say, but this is a story on the flip side about what was said to me. And as a preface, I absolutely adore my dad. It's about my dad and me as a little child. And I'd have to say this. My mum would tell you that I am most like my dad. My dad is very outgoing, says a lot. My mum is very quiet and reserved. So it's no wonder this is a dad story. But as a little girl, probably right from the very beginning, I loved to sing. My mum bought me a T-shirt when I was about 2 or 3. I can't help but burst into song. And I just was one of those kids that was constantly just, singing. I lived in a musical land, And I would say I'm not, an amazing singer by any means, but I'm not a terrible singer. I would just be a normal person singing. But I love to sing. In fact, it was very annoying. People would say, "Joe, be quiet." So this one day when I was about, I think 7, I had got a tape recorder. This is in, the 70s, late 70s. I got a tape recorder. I remember it so clearly. I was lying on the floor on my stomach with my little tape recorder in front of me, and I was you push both play and record down at the same, you record yourself, and I was singing Hopelessly Devoted to You.
Oh, yeah, the big belt number from Greece.
And my dad opened the door to my bedroom, and he could see that I was taping myself and singing, at the top of my voice. And he just in jest yelled out to my mum, "Hey, Betty, Joe thinks she can sing." And it just, to this day, I remember the feeling. I remember laying on the ground and the carpet underneath me. I remember what the tape recorder looks like. And I remember being gut-wrenched and embarrassed. I was embarrassed, and I felt like I just felt unsupported and embarrassed, undone. Like I thought something and I wasn't what I thought. And it wasn't even that I wanted to be an amazing singer. I just enjoyed it. Yeah. I loved it. It made me so happy.
So as we can understand, when we're a little bit older, we understand, it was said in jest, and there were so many other things, and you can understand it later on as an adult.
Yes.
But in that moment, when you were a child and you heard those words, how did that affect you and your love for singing over the years, or in the days even after that incident?
I mean, I did sing a lot after that around the house. I guess it's that familiarity of family. And I pretended, I guess, to myself that people weren't laughing or weren't talking about, or she thinks she's clever. And it did affect me. Like, even now that I'm 53, I know it doesn't matter. Singing is just enjoyment. But because of those words spoken over me, I've always felt self-conscious that if I sing, that people don't misunderstand me, that I'm not trying to get an audition on The Voice. I'm just being happy, and I don't want to be a singer. I just like to sing. It was a throwaway line from my dad. But throwaway lines, something that somebody says to you in haste became a prison for me of understanding.
The words spoken in haste as a child became a prison for you later as an adult. But how many times do we have these words spoken over us from our teachers, from our parents, from people in our lives who probably didn't think that their words would have so much impact, but that's what this proverb is all about. Proverbs 13:3, self-control means controlling the tongue. A quick retort can ruin everything. And maybe for you, you're listening right now and you can relate to Joe's story because there was something said about you, maybe about a skill, maybe about, I don't know, something that came to mind was the nose shape. I don't know. That's a whole thing. People talk about people's noses all the time.
Yeah, I think people talk about your appearance, or they might comment on your stature, character.
All sorts of things.
Many things.
And as a child, like you said earlier, there's such a hunger for that affirmation, and when you don't get it, it can really affect you years later. Even though you're an adult now and you got maybe kids of your own, and you're listening and you're thinking, even though I understand all of this, there's still pain and hurt. I still feel in some kind of prison from what was spoken over me. And I thought today, Joe, we could do something a little different. We could pray for anyone, or you could pray for anyone listening right now who feels like they are still, in a way, taken hostage by the words spoken over them as a child, and they're ready to move on and break free and move past that.
Absolutely. And also, sometimes we don't even have an awareness of it. So I'm more than happy to pray.
Yeah, well, let's do that.
Let's do that. Father, I just thank you that you are a God that speaks words of life, that you create with your words. They have power and impact. And Lord, I pray that you would speak to us about the words we use, that you'd help us to be people that bring life with our words. But right now we want to say, if anybody listening right now has been wounded, is imprisoned by words spoken over them at 5, at 7, at 15, at any age really, Lord, that you'd make us aware of what has spoken over us and what is still impacting us today. And Lord, I pray for freedom. Lord, I pray that those words that impacted and hurt can be overshadowed and set free by the words that you speak, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we're in your image, that you have plans for us. Lord, I pray that somebody today would speak a word that counteracts that brokenness and brings life and freedom, and that new things would come about. Lord, I just pray for anybody listening right now, in your presence, you would bring freedom, joy, and a new word of peace, life, hope, in Jesus' name.
Maybe as you've been listening to this podcast, a memory flashed for you. Some words that you forgot were spoken over you came to mind. Or you revisited some old wounds that you know have been sitting there for a long time. Could today be the day you free yourself from the prison of those words? Could you step into all that God calls you to be and all that God says you are? Today's application on the Everyday Joy podcast is simply that, is to acknowledge the words that have been spoken over you and to release yourself from the power they have. Just keep replaying and re-listening to that prayer at the end until you feel the shackles break off. Sometimes it takes more work. Sometimes it takes talking to a professional or having a coffee with someone you trust and really getting them to pray and process with you. Sometimes it takes a lot of work, but trust me, it's worth it. Well, that wraps up today's episode on the Everyday Joy podcast. Cannot wait to catch up again tomorrow.